Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 8:03 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It's Monday, January 2nd of 2023. We're here. It's a brand new year, and it's rather foggy outside, but it's a nice day. I still like it. It's a nice, warm day. It's not terribly cold out there at all. It feels really good. Gabriel, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited for this new year. It's our first episode for like the whole entire year, which is just crazy. So people were joking the other day. They're like, I haven't seen you all year. And I was like, you're right. So first podcast of the year.
That's right. First episode of the year. So we are here. And if today was the first, we could have started off with number one, but it's all good. First episode on the second. So we hope that you guys are doing well. Josue Pais is here. Good morning to you. Josie Mendoza Geller, good morning. Jennifer Ryan Mayton, hello there. And Norman Peterson says, good morning, GAMS fam, and Happy New Year to all. That's right. Happy New Year to all of you guys. Gabriel, how was your New Year's Eve?
It was really good. It was relaxing. We watched some TV. We watched Wall-E from like, I don't know, it's been almost probably a good year or two since I last saw that movie. So it kind of brought back some childhood memories because I grew up watching Wall-E and like The Incredibles. Like they were coming out like, or they just come out when I was like born. So it was kind of fun watching that.
Very cool. Very cool. Hope that you guys all had a nice time out there in the city. Saw some of you guys. Saw Norma Peterson, saw Josie at Tavern on Broadway, and had a lot of great friends stop by the event. So we had a good time, and shouts out to the Hangovers for playing for us. They played some awesome music. I made a little live video about that and posted that on our Facebook page. You guys can still check that out and watch that. It was a good time. And we're feeling good, man. We're here, so we hope that you guys are ready for a prosperous, healthy, peaceful, nice, and motivated 2023. Gabriel, take us into the first piece of news that we have. Let us know what's happening. The time is 8:05 a.m.
So the Aurora Police Department raised $10,000 for pancreatic cancer research. Aurora police officers and staff raised $10,400 for pancreatic cancer research in their annual No Shave November contest. The amount raised set a new record in the 6 years the department has held the competition, police officials said. The funds were donated to the Lustgarten Foundation for pancreatic cancer research, prevention, diagnosis, and treatment efforts. That's amazing. $10,400 is, that's a lot of money for research. So that's amazing that they were able to raise that much. The foundation funds scientific and clinical research and provides clinical support services to patients, caregivers, and individuals at high risk. The department began the fundraiser in honor of Sergeant Don Corp, who passed away in March 2016 of pancreatic cancer. This is our way of keeping his memory alive, as well as being able to donate money to pancreatic cancer research, Aurora Police Chief Keith Cross said in a news release. Participants competed in categories including the St. Nick and the best try. The person with the most luxurious facial hair is given the Don Corp Award. Wow, that sounds like a fun competition.
Nice. All right. Jerry Downing is here. Good morning to you, Jerry. The time is 8:06 a.m. Good news. Nice to have funds donated. Shout out to APD. So they did it for No Shave November. And it seems like it was a really good event. So well done to them. Also, we got news about some new laws lots of new things have taken effect since yesterday, now it being January. One of the things that has not taken effect, as you guys may know, is there was a stay by the U.S. Supreme Court, or excuse me, the Illinois Supreme Court, in regards to the Safety Act. So that has not been the part that has not been implemented is cite and release and the implementation of the removal of cash bail. So basically, the language states, it says something like no discernible change, which means basically everything is still left the same with that. So we will continue to update you guys on that because, as many of you know, have been following along, that is an important piece of legislation. But besides that, there's a whole lot of different things that have taken place in the state legally as well. And this happens each year. Basically, every year on January 1st, and especially in the history of us doing this show, we've detailed to you guys twice now new effects that have taken place January 1st. So debate around the proposed end of cash bail in Illinois dominated political discourse during the fall political races and is now the subject of a court battle. But that's just one of about 200 laws scheduled to take effect in the new year, from a pay bump for low-wage workers and a tax hike at the gas pump to a new official state snake and a rock. Here's a little preview of what kicks in, or rather what has kicked in. So for the fourth straight year, workers 18 and older who earn minimum wage in Illinois, we see their pay rate go up with a $1 increase to $13 per hour. The annual increases are the result of a measure that the governor signed in 2019 when the minimum wage was $8.25 an hour. That in steps will raise pay to $15 per hour in 2025. Now, you may be asking yourself, wait a minute. Wait. I thought the minimum wage was just going to be raised to $15 an hour. Well, it is. But that's in 2025. See that? Right? They snuck it, right? Well, they didn't sneak it in on you. That was the whole thing. It wasn't going to be raised to $15 immediately. That was in gradual steps. Now, I personally, and this is a conversation that could go 4 million. This it's like a spider, right? There's many legs on this. This can go a lot of ways, but I personally believe that it should have just been immediate. I don't work in state finance, and I'm not the governor, but if you're going to incrementally increase people's wages $1 a year to get to 15, that doesn't seem like it's helping a lot of people who may need that help now. But what do I know? Gabriel Bradford, what do you think about that? Tracy Duran is here. Good morning, Tracy Duran. Time is 8:10.
I think the reason that it was incremental instead of immediate was, the minimum wage had went from $8 to $15. Like, that's almost doubling the minimum wage, which is absolutely great, right? Like, that's, $8 is barely enough to get you like a Big Mac at McDonald's.
Shit, when I was working, it was like, I remember when it was $6 something.
Yeah. So it's a really good step in the right direction. Now, as far as increasing it $1 a year, I'm one who I do work minimum wage, so I do make exactly what they're giving me and what the minimum wage is every year. So that the aspect where they're doing that, I think, is actually all right, because if they had just doubled it, I feel like a lot of businesses, and especially like non-for-profits who are able to pay minimum wage, that would significantly increase their operating costs. Whereas here they now have, instead of 6 months or something, they now have a full 8 years to be able to manage that increase and prepare, because especially in not-for-profit world, I work for a not-for-profit, and if they were to say, all right, you're from $8 now to, now you have to start paying them $15, that's just not something they could have planned for.
Sure.
And the level that, the amount of money that that would take, it would be significant, because that's one of the number one operating costs for a lot of businesses is paying your employees.
Right.
So I think from that perspective, it's both a really good thing that they're increasing it, but I think taking that time has been positive thing for businesses and not-for-profits, as well as like as an employee. That's been okay for me, because it's allowed these businesses to, I feel like, kind of catch up with the wage.
Norma Peterson says, as a previous business owner, that's a big financial deal. Well said, Norma. And Josie Mendoza-Geller says, incremental increase helps small business reach that threshold. True. Because if the floodgates were just opened to where with the snap of the finger you go from 8 to 15, a lot of businesses probably wouldn't be able to keep up. Right, so that incremental increase is definitely helpful. And now it's 2020. The other thing about it, too, I think was kind of significant is now being 2023, 2025 doesn't seem that far away anymore.
No, it's...
Right? Like 2025 seems like really, like it's like, holy cow, like where is the time going? Like 2020.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe I'll eat my own last statement there and say that. Maybe you know what? That's the beauty of doing the show, right?
Yeah.
Right? We talk it out. Because if it was just my brain and all that, and and I thought that wouldn't be democratic at all. The time is 8:13. Gloria Gerardo says, or Jennifer Ramin, says, smaller businesses might not be able to make that jump. Will they have to lose employees to make payroll? Yeah, actually, that happened to us actually in the when we had the escape room.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was, we had more people applying for the escape room, and we needed people that we could pay though. You know what I'm saying? Like we seriously, it was like it got to the point we had fantastic candidates applying and all that. And it's like, damn, well, we can only really afford to pay 3 employees, Yeah. So it was, and we worked it good. So our employees stayed with us. So like, that's kind of one thing I do think, like, man, there was a lot of kids who kept calling me every day like, yo, fire somebody, man. I want to work here.
See, that's what you want as a small business. You want people to be like calling you up, like right and left, being like, "Hey, hire me!" Like find somebody else. Like
no, it was good.
It's, that's a good thing to have. That's a good problem to have as an employer, is when people are like really want to work for you, because I mean it's a really competitive labor market right now. Like everyone's hiring, and
this was before the pandemic too. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I don't know what was it like before.
It was, what do you mean?
Oh, was it harder to find employees, or?
No, it was, well, for us, it wasn't actually. The escape room was it was an employee magnet. But again, being a small business, a business with only 5 employees, we just had to, we couldn't hire everybody. The time is 8:15. Maria Trios here. Good morning and Happy New Year. All right, let me continue with what else is coming in the year, and want to say good morning to all of you guys and happy 2023. Glad you guys are here, and thank you for tuning in to Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. So in Chicago, the minimum wage for employers with more than 20 workers, which is tied to inflation, went up to $15.40 per hour on July 1st, and will increase this year by 2.5%, or the rate of inflation, whichever is lower. Cook County has set a minimum wage of $13.35, though most county municipalities have opted out. Those municipalities will still be governed by the state minimum wage. After a 6-month election year reprieve, drivers will see taxes go up at the pump twice in 2023. The first, on New Year's Day, will be an increase of 3.1 cents to 42.3 cents per gallon. Under a 2019 measure that doubled the gas tax to help pay for J.B. Pritzker's $45 billion Rebuild Illinois construction program. The tax is supposed to increase each July based on the rate of inflation. Anonymous police complaints. And this, hold on. Let me scratch this up for myself. Let me tell you again. I just want to say one more time that what I'm about to read to you. Good morning, Happy New Year. What I'm about to read is we're still gonna be the Safety Act. We're still going there. We are going to talk about it. As you guys know, we talk monthly with the State's Attorney Jimmy Mosser, and sometimes Ron Haynes with us too. So we will get more information on the Safety Act. State's Attorney Mosser and DuPage County State's Attorney, I think Mr. Berlin, I think is his name. They wrote a legal reprieve to the Illinois Supreme Court. So we'll talk about that. But these are other pieces of news that have to do with social justice and the police and law enforcement as well. So under a new system, the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board would review audio and video recordings, arrest reports, photos, GPS records, lab reports, and all other available evidence before determining whether further investigation on an anonymous complaint is warranted. So a change to anonymous complaints. Previously, anonymous complaints were not typically accepted by police departments or police oversight agencies in Illinois, except, for instance, if an officer was accused of committing a crime. Pro-law enforcement interests oppose anonymous complaints out of concern that too many officers could be tagged with unfair allegations. But in this system, what they're talking about is if an anonymous complaint is presented and allowed, all of the other evidence, like I just read, GPS records, lab reports, video recordings, arrest reports, photos, all of that, all of it is gathered and siphoned with which to make a credible determination. It's not just, oh, I'm going to type that Officer Smith did something crazy, and that's just it. So there is a rather a method for weeding things out. Aisha Saxon's here. Good morning. Happy New Year to you too, Aisha Saxon. And other law enforcement related measures are coroners and medical examiners will be required to notify the FBI if they are not able to identify human remains within 72 hours. This is inspired by the death of Mr. Jelani Day, a Illinois State University graduate student whose body was found in the Illinois River in 2021. His body was not identified for almost 3 weeks. Now, so that's significant. Okay, and grants and other financial support will also be provided to law enforcement to address carjackings, which have skyrocketed. And the state will also create a fund and grant program subject to appropriation by the Illinois General Assembly that provides behavioral health services to first responders. In addition, a new law will make clear that victims of carjackings or car thefts will not be responsible for any penalties that arise from red light or speed camera violations or impound fees attached to their vehicle after it's stolen. That's another one of those that makes me really like, wow, that was happening before? Your car gets stolen. It goes to, right, maybe he ran a red light or whatever. Now it's impounded. They caught the guy and said, you got to go pay to get your own car back. What?
Yeah, that's what doesn't make sense. Like, I guess I wasn't even aware, like, if that was happening before.
Yeah.
Because I've never experienced that having, like, someone carjack me. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But
I mean, we'd rather have not been carjacked.
Yeah, I'd rather
find out?
not have the experience of that. So I guess I can't speak for that. But that's really, I guess, really bad if people were being held responsible for that before this law was passed.
That's what it says.
I guess it's really unfortunate that, there are people out there who will carjack you, and I mean,
but you still got to pay for being carjacked.
It's
That's
like
great. God, it's just one of those. This is one of those things you read it and I'm like, I can't believe that in America that was going on. It was like when it's like when we interviewed AID, the Association for Individual Development. That was probably one of the most revealing episodes of all 2022 when her name escapes me at the moment, but the executive director, she told me that, like, kids with disabilities weren't going to school.
Really?
No. They had to make, like, a group of concerned moms that's how AID started. Because kids with, like, Down syndrome and other disabilities, they weren't going to school. Schools weren't taking them.
Oh, they wouldn't.
No.
Were there like no alternative schools or
No.
schools with resources to
Nope.
help? No.
No.
Wow. Okay, I didn't realize that.
I did right.
Yeah, I mean
Doesn't that sound horrible?
that's pretty
Sounds
crazy.
really
Yeah,
bad, doesn't
that's-
it? Right? And I thought, wait a minute, what? And I look, and
Yeah.
so that's how AID got started.
Okay, I didn't realize
That's
that. Wow.
amazing. That's amazing.
It's amazing that like people came together and saw a really big problem and were able to like start their own organization. But that's crazy that was happening like before.
Here is some very special and good news. Johnny Felix is here. Good morning to you, Johnny Felix. Oh, and Michael Rayford. Good morning to my Cheryl Brownell is here. Good morning to you. Michael Rayford says, "Good morning, A-Town, and Happy New Year. Make 2023 the best year for you and your family." Hashtag how many words and hashtag Michael Rayford Media. Angela Torres is here. Yes, and they don't let you know it's back until they finish their investigation. This is about the cars.
Oh yeah.
She says, "I ended up losing my car and signing the title over to the impound lot because I could not afford the almost $1,000 to get it out because they tack you every day. It's like $300 a day or something like that. Then there's the fee from when they first took it, and then a racket.
Yeah.
It's crazy." Angela, thank you for sharing that. Time is 8:23. This is a very important new piece of the packet of laws that we're talking about. This addresses domestic violence. Excuse me. Additionally, as of New Year's Day, people accused of soliciting a sexual act with someone under 18 or with a severe or profound intellectual disability can no longer use as a defense that they didn't know the victim had the intellectual disability. An alleged victim of domestic violence may also now file a petition for an order of protection either in person or online. That is significant.
Yeah, that's really big because
Hold on, let me get it. The law also pertains to, quote, no contact orders included for stalking. The law requires a court in a county with more than 250,000 people to offer the option of a remote hearing to an alleged victim for an order of protection or no contact order, so the court has the authority to deny such hearings. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you out. I just want to get that part out there.
I think that's really significant, especially like when, I mean, if these people have been in, abusive situation, it's really difficult to come out and have to be in a courtroom with that same person. So the fact that they can do it online is, I think, just that much more empowering for people who have been abused and are in a domestic situation when there's harm has been done, and so being in the same room with that person, that's just terrible.
The time is 8:25 a.m. There was another small portion as well. Oh, excuse me. Sexual assault charges. There it is. I forgot about that, you guys. I apologize. Sexual assault charges can be brought in cases where alleged victims became too intoxicated on their own to consent to sexual activity under a new law inspired by Kaylin Ahn, a displaying teen who reported that she'd been drinking before being assaulted. This law clarifies that criminal charges can be brought regardless of how the alleged victim became intoxicated or impaired. I think that as I read these, and Norma Peterson, and for those who need to know, get to know, document the abuse, and learn about the evidentiary abuse affidavit, the EAA, and its role in helping law enforcement. We'll add a link later on about document the abuse. But I think what the shift is here when we talk about these kind of things, attacks and violence against people, domestic violence, is that what we're seeing though is more of a willingness to consider everything instead of dismissing somebody because of how they're appearing at the court or how they're coming to the court or the nature of the case, right? A lot of people, if you typically with like bad things that happen at colleges and things like that, a lot of people have been reluctant to kind of believe the victim, right? Because you're hanging out at a frat house with a bunch of frat boys. You know what I'm saying? Completely dismissing whatever the case may be, and then still requiring you to come to court and be in the same room with so nobody wants to go through that.
Oh, exactly.
You don't want to go through that. So I think that's what's important about some of the changes in these domestic violence laws. The time is 8:27 a.m. You are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest series. Blah.
Scratch that.
Sip it up, 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 sip it up. All y'all. Even you. The first sip up of the year.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The time is 8:27. So, yeah, that's very good. And Angela says yes. And we talked about that. That was the stolen car.
Oh, yeah.
Stolen car thing. Okay. Some interesting changes now. Now, I want you to know something here before I get into this next part. Hold on. Bring me back on camera. Hold on. This next part is important because it has to do with gun laws. And there's a really big thing taking place now. Legislation has been drafted and submitted in regards to banning assault weapons. I believe it's HB 5655, but I could be wrong about that. Anybody wants to check me out? Check me out. I want you to know that I remember the national ban on assault weapons. It was, I was young. It was in the 90s. I think it was like 94. Okay. It significantly lowered crime, shootings, and thereby death. We have an article about that. And we talked about that. That's been months ago, so maybe we will rehash that for you guys to listen to. It's got some great, interesting facts and statistics in it, and it was from Business Insider. Anyway, we'll get there. A proposal to ban the sale of certain semi-automatic weapons is expected to be one of the most hotly debated issues of this year. But there's a bunch of less controversial gun-related laws that are set to take effect. For example, deer hunters will now be allowed to use single-shot rifles. Previously, the only rifles allowed were muzzle loaders. Did you know that?
No, I
had no idea.
Didn't know that.
Had no clue, did you? Now I say that because I didn't know that either.
I think as someone who lives in the city, it's harder to go hunting and like I guess understand the laws related to that because I don't make it out hunting. I mean, I go shooting like regular. Like I mean, we'll go out to like a gun range and shoot stuff, but like. No, I don't normally go out to hunt there. I've never been hunting in my life, so.
Oh, it's the time is 8:29 a.m. Okay, under a separate law, the Department of Public Health will be developing a 2-year public awareness campaign on safe gun storage. A separate measure allows schools to include gun storage in their safety education curricula. I am a proponent of an awareness campaign for safe gun storage. I want you to know, and I say this proudly, that I, and by extension, Good Morning Aurora, believe very strongly in the safe and responsible storage and handling of firearms. Everything from child safety locks to cases, safes. I believe in all of that. Not only do I agree with the ban on assault weapons, but I do take that very seriously. And I do believe that the household mistake, which is very common, is something that could be less common if more people simply cared about it and were responsible. A lot of people don't deserve to have firearms. And with that being said, I really want you guys to take that seriously. And shout out to the Department of Public Health to come up with an awareness campaign on safe gun storage. That's how McGruff got started. You know that?
Oh, McGruff?
Yeah.
What's that?
You don't know who McGruff is?
No.
Oh God, we ending the show. You know what? The time is it's a short one today. Time is 8:31 a.m. You're listening. You have been listening. It's over. It's over. Gabriel don't know who McGruff is. I'm taking myself to a commercial. Oh my God. Norma Peterson, Tracy Duran. Y'all, he don't know who McGruff is.
No, I've never heard of them.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
McGruff was the dog who represented the DARE program, Drug Abuse Resistance Education.
Oh wait, was it like the big bulldog with
Yeah.
like the little like I don't know.
He was a
detective
cop. Yeah, the
thing?
detective.
Oh
thing,
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
you know what?
That's McGruff.
I vaguely remember that. Like that was I think before my time. Like when I was growing up, I don't really think we had McGruff.
No, you
Like,
did, because we had him when I grew up, and he's still around.
Oh.
So you had him. You had him. It's just that McGruff by
I
the
don't remember
time you were born, McGruff was like, y'all had Paw Patrol and all that. So.
Yeah.
McGruff was gone by that time.
I don't think I watched too much.
Norma says you've been
that.
redeemed, and Tracy Duran says, "Oh, come on, McGruff is old school." That's right. That's right. Michael Raven says the crime dog. Shy G, good morning to you.
Okay.
No, that's but anyway. Illinois Department of Public Health is developing a public awareness campaign. That's how McGruff got started.
Oh, okay.
Because
I didn't know that.
child kidnappings were on the rise.
Oh, wow.
So the Department of Public Health said we need to do something. We need to come up with a way for kids to stop going with strangers. How can we do that? How can we make kids learn, right? Don't go down a dark alley when you're walking home. Walk in packs. If somebody got candy, you don't want none, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how McGruff was born.
Oh, okay.
It's a great story. And if you want to know more about it, you can go to goodmorningaurora.com. Check it out. We did a blog post about it with some details. That's how it all started.
Wow.
That's how McGruff was born.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. That is. Yeah, redeems your faith in the government. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty good though that they are doing an awareness campaign, because as somebody who does go shooting, at gun ranges, responsible storage and use of guns is very important, because we do have a constitutional right to own and carry firearms, so long as we're responsible with them. And that's where I believe this education course and the ability that people have to educate people about this is really, really important, because I've seen too many people who, like, they're using guns like they're not loaded, and the first thing you learn when you start shooting, a gun is always loaded. So that's where
you always assume a gun is loaded.
Exactly. So you don't even assume it's not loaded. Like you just assume it is, because and that's how you prevent instances. Like very recently there was I can't remember who the actor was, but there was somebody on a film set where they pointed a gun at somebody and the gun went off, and the person thought that the gun had, I guess, not been loaded, but a gun is always loaded. So that's where responsible use and responsible storage are very important, because a lot of people, and especially kids, accidentally end up shooting themselves in some cases because they weren't stored properly or somehow managed to get a hold of them.
The time is 8:35 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Mike Hess is here. Good morning to you, Mike Hess. Tracy Duran was good enough to put the video to McGruff in the chat.
Ooh, okay.
So for all of you people who have not heard of McGruff, I don't know who in the world. They know McGruff in everywhere. They know McGruff in all over the world. He's well known. Anyway. You can watch the video. Thank you very much for doing that, Tracy Duran. The time is 8:35. Okay. Here's something else that's new. Workplace protections are new following a 2022 law that prohibited schools from banning hairstyles associated with race and ethnicity. Right there. That's another one, right? Isn't right?
Yeah.
It's another one where you read that and you think, wow, schools were prohibiting kids from coming to school because of their hair, right? Yeah, it's just another. It's just one of it. What? I thought it was democracy and all that. What?
Unfortunately, it hasn't been.
Let's keep going
like that. Yeah.
The state's Human Rights Act is being amended to expand the definition of race to include associated traits such as hair textures and styles. Wow. Supporters of the measure said it's aimed at oh my goodness gracious. Do it again. Sip it up.
Yeah, sip it up.
For all of you people who just discovered Good Morning Aurora, you're wondering what sip it up means. When we mess up our words, we calm our brains. Whew, right? Take it easy. Sip your tea or your coffee or whatever you're drinking this morning. I know some of y'all orange juice every day. I see it on your Instagram. I watch. But anyway, that's what it means. Sip it up. Okay. Supporters of the measure said it's aimed at ending discrimination black workers face on the job when they wear their hair in natural or ethnic styles. The state is clarifying a law intended to ensure that workers receive at least 1 day off per work week. Modifications to the 1 Day Rest in 7 Act include specifying that workers receive 24 hours off after working 6 consecutive days, regardless of whether the days fall within 1 calendar week. The new law also requires a second 20-minute meal or rest break for employees who work a 12-hour shift. Current law requires 1 break for those who work 7.5 hours or longer. The measure also increases penalties for employers who violate the law, increasing the current fine of up to $100 per offense to a fine of up to $250 and up to $250 in damages paid to the employee for companies with fewer than 25 workers, and a fine of up to $500 and up to $500 in damages for larger firms. A separate measure adds an exemption to the law for workers whose schedules and break periods are set through collective bargaining. Another new law requires employers to provide 10 days of unpaid time off for workers who experience issues such as a miscarriage, stillbirth, failed fertility treatment, or unsuccessful adoption. The law also expands the required 10 days of unpaid bereavement leave for employees who experience the death of a child to include the death of a stepchild, spouse, domestic partner, sibling, parent, parent-in-law, grandchild, grandparent, or step-parent. What do you think about that, Gabriel Bradford?
I think that's, I mean, all those seem to be just, clarifying or expanding, some like pre-existing laws, and then, further developing the reach of current laws. Because I know, like, especially like working a 10, 12-hour shift, that's long. So having at least, an extra 20-minute break is really nice.
Right. The time is 8:39 a.m. Espinosa Juan Manuel is here. Good morning to you, Espinosa Juan Manuel. Meredith Colin Dunham is here. Good morning to you, Meredith, as well. Tracy Duran she's with us, y'all. She is with us. You know what? Actually, I'm going to tell you guys a little story real quick. This happened on, check this out. When we were at the New Year's Eve party, right? It was really cool to see. At one moment, I looked around and I saw, like, everybody in there was quite the collective bunch of people. We had members of APD in the house. Shout out to APD. We had Aurora East Educational Foundation house. Shout out to AEF. We had Las Playeritas in the house. Shout out to my man, Jose. VNA Healthcare. There were so many people who were there representing different, dynamic, great, and helpful organizations and different things in the city. So it was really nice to see. And as I look in the chat, that's kind of what sparked this whole little brain fire I'm having right now. When I looked in the chat, right, I'm thinking, BTP is here. Good morning to you, BTP. Brent, the producer. That's his name. His real name is Brent Jimenez. Told his whole government life on the air. My bad, Brent. I love you, dog. But as I look in the chat, same thing, right? Look at all these great people. Michael Rayford, Document the Abuse. Johnny Felix, Talento Creations. I mean, just, you guys are, I want you all to know, in case you don't think it, you guys are the best people in the world. And I want to say a good morning and a happy new year to everybody, all of you, no matter where you're at. Shout out to Arlington Heights. They listen to Good Morning Aurora out there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We get some nice messages. I'm tuning in from Arlington Heights, man. Just discovered the show, man. Nice show. Thank you very much. Okay. Let me get back to what I was talking about here. The time is 8:41. Here's some changes in education taking place this year. Also taking effect January 1st are 2 measures that were part of a legislative package designed to address the ongoing shortage of teachers, substitutes, and aides in schools across Illinois. Under one measure, students pursuing education degrees will now be allowed to apply for a substitute teaching license once they've completed 90 credit hours of coursework towards their teaching degree. Previously, substitutes had to have a bachelor's degree. Wow, that's cool. Supporters say the change will give teachers in training valuable classroom experience while also helping make sure schools are fully staffed. A related measure lowers the minimum age for elementary and middle school teacher assistants and other paraprofessionals by 1 year to 18. Another education-related law that takes effect in the new year requires school personnel, administrators, and board of education members to receive training on how trauma can affect student academic performance and behavior. Separately, Chicago Public Schools will be required to review its enrollment at least once every 5 years to determine whether new school boundaries are needed. Middle schools and high schools statewide are also now required to give students one excused absence per year to attend a civic event sponsored by a nonprofit or government entity. Ooh, that sounds cool.
That's actually a real. I love that idea.
I do too. Damn, I like that.
Yeah. I mean,
like that.
See, that's the thing where I
Word
feel that we need. That's the thing where, as we do become like the the cities of the future and our generation. I mean, we've had so much. Like I've grown up with everything from like the internet to touch screens to. I mean, it's just been crazy what I've been able to grow up with, and even kids who are 10 years younger than me, they have so much more than what I had when I grew up with. Like I still remember those like big cassette players from like so old when I was a kid, but like that's the thing, like. So I love that we're going out and we're saying, hey, you can have an excused absence to go check out a civic event. Like that's massive. Like.
Right.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. Yep, the time is 8:43 a.m. Now, Gabriel, you also got another story for us too. Please read that for us. I'll take us to a commercial.
So Aurora mourns the death of Malik Hart, a performer and son of city council member. And Malik is 49, son of Aurora alderwoman Shakita Hart Burns, and William Burns died this week. That's really, really unfortunate. We're very sorry for Shakita Burns' loss. It's really sad. Malik was a performer who had went all over the world singing, writing, acting, and producing music and plays. He sang with some of the top gospel artists in the country as well as performed house music. His house music albums sell all over the world and on streaming platforms. Shakita Burns said her son had been sick and was on both kidney dialysis and chemotherapy treatments before he died. And before that, he traveled the world as a performer, she said. He was always fun-loving and joking, Hart Burns said.
So our condolences go out to the Hart Burns family. Also, Barbara Walters passed away as well. For those of you who are of my age, era, and time, and even before me, certainly, it is not lost on you what kind of person and presence Barbara Walters had. Barbara Walters made history. She was the first woman to ever air a daytime and a nighttime show.
Oh, wow.
That is a wow. Think about it.
That's awesome.
The first woman, Barbara Walters, that's insane.
Yeah.
She interviewed and got to the heart of many problems in society. She interviewed everybody. So Good Morning Aurora would like to have a, Tracy Duran says, Malik was such a sweet guy. I first met him when we were in middle school at Waldo. Even then, we all knew he was bigger than life. At this very moment, Good Morning Aurora would like to have a moment of silence for both Malik Hart and the Hart Burns family and Barbara Walters. Time is 8:46 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It's Monday, the 2nd of January, 2023. It's a beautiful day. We're glad that you guys are here and tuned in listening to us. Good Morning Aurora has a lot for you this year. We're going to show you some amazing things and give you some more interviews. Boy, we got a lot cooking. We got a whole lot cooking, so stay tuned for all that we have. The new home of the news is here, and I want you guys to, reach out to us, man. Good morning, Aurora, il@gmail.com. We've also got a Google Voice number. That number is 331-256-7782. You can text us at that number or anything. So reach out to us, get to know us, who we are, and what we do here. And we've got a whole lot of news to give to you. I'm going to tell you this. I promise you. I promise you. I keep telling y'all. One of these days, it's all going to be some I remember when. Just you watch. Right? It's going to be 2071. And the kids at that time, they were like, I'm going to work for Good Morning Aurora. Right? That's right. Joe Biden. He'll be like, Curtis, I know. I heard good things. I know you did. Right? Oprah's going to call Gabriel Bradford. Hey, GB, what's going on down there in Aurora? You guys doing big things. Yes, we are.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
George Bush going to come out of retirement, ring us up. Can I get an interview? Like, come on, man. You know you can, George. Right? Time is 8:48 a.m. All right. Couple more things with these laws. And, again, I want to reiterate to you that, no, as you may have heard, the Safety Act did not get implemented. Well, the two most important parts of the Safety Act did not get implemented. Remember, body cameras are in the Safety Act, too, and police departments have to have those by 2025, every single one in the state. That's already going on. So it's what's known as cite and release and ending cash bail. Those are the parts that did not get passed. Okay. Restaurant restrictions. Check this out. Let's talk about the restaurants. Third-party services such as Grubhub and DoorDash no longer will be allowed to list restaurants on their platforms unless they have a written agreement with the business. The prohibition was supported by the representatives for Illinois restaurants, which have long complained about and even sued over unauthorized listings and deliveries. That's amazing. Restaurants will be facing a new restriction of their own in the new year, a prohibition on using latex gloves in food preparation. That law was designed to protect people who are allergic to latex, and it includes an exception in the event non-latex gloves are unavailable due to supply chain problems during a crisis. In those cases, restaurants will be required to post signs notifying customers. The new law also applies to emergency medical services, with similar exceptions for shortages. Pharmacists now will be permitted to dispense pre- and post-exposure prophylaxis drugs, commonly known as PrEP and PEP, without a prescription for a doctor. This is combating AIDS and HIV. When taken properly, PrEP reduces the risk of contracting HIV by about 99%. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, PEP also is highly effective when taken within 72 hours of exposure. A related measure, which is intended to address the virus's disproportionate impact on the Black community, provides that one Black-led Center of Excellence HIV Biomedical Resource Hub will be created for every $3 million available in the state's HIV and AIDS Response Fund. The centers are intended to provide regional comprehensive HIV preventative care and services such as PrEP assessment, same-day prescription delivery, primary HIV care, case management, and outpatient mental health treatment. Both initiatives are part of oh my goodness. I'm going to finish it, then we'll sip it up. You know what's crazy?
Yep.
I do so good over like biomedical and preventative, and then I slip up on end. How do you mess up the world's easiest word?
It happens.
Right? We're human, you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Both initiatives are part of the Department of Public Health's effort to end the HIV epidemic in the state by 2030. Now I'll sip it up. Sip it up. All right. Time is 8:51. Gabriel Bradford, what do you think about that?
I think it's great that we're sharing additional resources with people, and again, it's all like there's so many different communities that I feel like haven't had like the focus that they've needed like in previous years, and so now that there's people are placing additional importance on a lot of these a lot of people who need treatment or need help like this. I think that's great, because again, it's the more services that are available, the more people can be served. Because I know there's definitely a lot of organizations that are not able to serve everyone that they would like to, just because they don't have the the number of resources that they need, or the funding. And especially in areas where in very rural areas, it can be harder to get that treatment. So if there's more centers, then more people are able to easily access it, which is more equitable and equal to everyone around.
Right. Very good stuff. The time is 8:52 a.m. Now, here's where the things get cool. So we've got some new state symbols. This is some interesting stuff, too. Listen to this, you guys. Joining the white-tailed deer, northern cardinal, bluegill, painted turtle, the monarch butterfly, and eastern tiger salamander in Illinois' official menagerie, the eastern milk snake is now the state snake. How about that? We got a state snake.
Got a state snake. I didn't know that.
The non-venomous snake, which averages 24 to 43 inches in length, is found in the northern third of the state, with the red milk snake subspecies found in the southern third, with some overlap in central Illinois. That's according to the State Department of Natural Resources. How about that? The snake's main lobbyist at the Capitol was Gentry Heppel, a then seventh grader from Carterville Junior High School in southern Illinois, who proposed the idea to his local state representative. Now, you know what? Let me tell y'all something. If a kid right now is going to his state rep and getting a snake named as the state snake, what in the world is stopping you from doing anything?
That's pretty awesome.
That is the most amazing, right?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just awesome.
That's pretty good, man. That's pretty. Yo, shout out. We need to interview him. What's his name? Gentry Heppel. Yo, shout out to Carterville Junior High School. Dolostone became the official state rock thanks to a lobbying effort that was joined by students at Pleasantdale Middle School in Burr Ridge. The mineral is quarried in various parts of the state and is commonly used in road construction and agriculture. That's according to the Department of Natural Resources. The new state theater isn't Steppenwolf or the Goodman, but Theater in the Park, an outdoor repertory housed at Lincoln's new Salem State Historical Park near Petersburg, north of Springfield. And sweet corn, already the state vegetable, is getting its own day of honor. Beginning in this year, August 1st becomes Sweet Corn Appreciation Day. You heard about it here first. Wow. You heard it here first. That's to celebrate the importance of sweet corn to Illinois agriculture and in recognition of family farmers. I'll be dog. That's pretty cool. Norman Peterson says redeem means to buy back. Repurchase means to get or win back. Thank you very much for that. Now check this out. Illinois will also be getting a new state historian to be appointed by Pritzker under a measure overhauling the governing structure of the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum in Springfield. The new historian will be required to have expertise in the Illinois history of a diverse group, such as the African American, Asian American, Latino, Native American, or LGBTQ community. The time is 8:55 a.m. Gabriel Bash, what do you think about that?
I think that's right. I mean, as someone who loves history, I think it's really great that we're having, we have a state historian. And also, I mean, I think let's just be honest, any kid or students who were able to get like an official state snake or like a state rock, I mean,
bro, I would run for governor after that. Like, you know what I've done for the state?
Like that's just awesome, because I feel like a lot of people underestimate how much effort it takes to get something through both the House and the Senate.
Right.
That's a lot of effort, because you don't just need sponsors in the House, you also need to find sponsors in the Senate. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I mean, it's just a state snake and rock, but
it's it's a feel good thing.
Yeah, but it's still very impressive that they went through that process, and because I don't see too many people opposing that.
Right. Who wants to be the state rep who's voting against the seventh grader? You don't. You don't want that.
But that's still really amazing that a seventh grader went out and said, "Hey, I want to go have a state snake." Like that in and of itself shows a drive and initiative that we need more of here in Illinois and in our country. I think, as students, we underestimate the power that we have for change. And we need to recognize that, here in the state, but also here in Aurora, we have representatives. We have youth voices at city government. We have a youth council here in Aurora.
Yep.
One of very few in the state, but it's a city youth council, and it's run by youth and organized by youth. So that's where I think a lot of people underestimate the power their voice has. And anyone who can't vote under 18, they're like, well, my voice doesn't, have a lot. But no, it does. Your voice counts.
Right.
Every voice counts. And I think that's great that the state of Illinois is kind of showing that. And, especially with we have a new state snake. That's really cool. Like a state rock. That shows that our voices still matter. And for a student to do that is amazing, to have that initiative to go out and say, I want to do this. It's honestly great. Yeah.
Yep, it's a really good thing. The time is 8:57 a.m. Well, it's Monday, January 2nd. I hope that you guys have a great day today. Did we get everything?
I feel like we did. That was
I think we did.
Yeah, we covered a lot today.
Yeah, that's right, we did.
Yeah.
We did it. And you did it too. So Gabriel Bradford, any last words? Any last thoughts?
Just make sure to write down, I think, your New Year's affirmations. And the reason I say affirmations is that you can make a resolution, but I think the importance of making your goals throughout the year cannot be underestimated. Sure, I want to get some stuff done this year. I have some goals for this year. But I'm not going to accomplish those goals if I'm not writing them down every single day and looking at them. Every single Saturday, Sunday, I will write down my goals for that week. I just did that yesterday. I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, I have this going on this week. I have these specific goals in these specific areas of interest that, I have very different interests. So I was like, well, I want to get these done, and then I'm going to do this other thing. That is that's just very important. So I think this year, write down just one positive thing a week, one affirmation, whatever it is. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. Just write something down, and even just look at what you're doing well, what you're doing right. That is so helpful, because it helps you see that yes, you're making progress, and progress is not a one and done thing. It's always moving forward. And Good Morning Aurora. We started in a bathroom on an iPhone 4, and now we're here. We have 2 studios.
Absolutely.
It's a story of making goals that are, small goals that are sustainable, and then the bigger picture.
Yep.
What's your bigger picture goals? So
Cindy Morales is here. Good morning to you,
Cindy. That's my
Cindy.
advice for today.
Thank you very much for that, Gabriel. Cindy Morales is here. Good morning to you, Cindy, and good morning, Aurora, right back at you. All of you great people, we hope that you guys have a blessed, positive, and wonderful, not just a wonderful day, but also a wonderful week, a wonderful and uplifting week. So many of you have, I'll leave you with this. How about this? Let's scratch it up. I'll do something for you, right? So many of you have been working in your basement, right? You write all night. You've been doing your Etsy shop. You got the crack cut in your bedroom. I know how you're living, right? Because I'm a supporter. You're making shirts in your garage. So many of you. So many of you guys wake up at 5, you get your coffee, then you start working for the nonprofit you may work for. So many of you are educators or work with schools and youngsters and districts. So you got your lesson plans going on. All of the hard work that you did last year in 2022, I hope, and we would like to support you in your endeavors, but I hope that positive work that you started continues and it blossoms and it flourishes in this new year of 2023. So with that, Gabriel Bradford and I in my kiddos' playroom. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Making it happen wherever you're doing it at. I see you. Papa Love. Come on. But anyway, with that, Gabriel Bradford and I would like to wish you all a beautiful, blessed, positive, and great Monday in 2023. Take care of yourself and each other.